Hey everybody, it's Crystal here. Hey, we're going to go ahead and get started with part 3 of my testimony. In this selection, we're going to be talking about my time at Teen Challenge and when the Lord delivered me from the cutting and also from oppression, and share a little bit about what has happened in the more recent years. But I do, before we get started, I do want to encourage everybody to be watching for when the book comes out. Can everybody see? Here's a copy of it. I posted a picture on Facebook the other day, but it was red. It's not red, as you can see. Anyways, because there's some things in the book that aren't on the videos, and there's some things that I've done in the videos that I haven't mentioned in the book. So make sure that you read and watch and read, so that you can get the full story. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm actually going to read a little selection out of the book regarding my time at Teen Challenge and when the Lord had delivered me. So we'll go ahead and get started with that. It says, in the spring of 1998, we began experiencing an outpouring of the Holy Spirit that started in one of our morning chapel times. It was awesome. Let me tell you, it was awesome, because in His presence we're changed. In His presence there's fullness of joy, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Those are all things that are important to the story. The Lord did such a supernatural work in us all, and He made His presence known to us. One morning that I will never forget. One morning I will never forget. After receiving prayer, I had a vision or a mind picture. I'm trying not to get too churchy or charismatic for those who don't understand those things. So in this vision, in this mind picture, imagination, whatever you want to call it, I could see myself in a deep, dark dungeon, dressed in rags. I was looking up and I could see the daylight, but there was no way to get out. The Lord spoke this to me: I am giving you beauty for your ashes, and you are no longer an orphan. You have always been loved. Even though I had been rejected by the people closest to me, He had not forsaken me. He had not rejected me. He saw me as beautiful in His sight. He didn't see me in the rags of my shame and reproach. And even though I had identified with being an orphan, I wasn't an orphan. The hurt that I had, the hurt that I thought I had brought onto myself, it wasn't my fault. He was calling me out of the dungeon. He was not only healing my heart, but my identity as well, which is a whole nother subject. We could go off on that. Check out my blog. I think I know that I did a blog about identity, so go check that out after you watch this video. We'll continue reading here. It was after that day that a weight was lifted off of me. It was after that morning that I noticed that even the grass looked greener and the sky more blue. A fog had been lifted and I could see clearly. I could see freely. Once I was able to receive the truth, the power of those lies was broken and true freedom came. So I just want to encourage you today. You know, like I said, God delivered me right then and there from the cutting. I never cut again. I never had a desire to cut again, from that oppression, which is different than depression. I don't have time to go into that right now. But just from that hopeless feeling, and that feeling, like I had mentioned about it being in a fog, and just kind of, everything was just dark and just dreary, and just blah, on the inside, and it was also coming out on the outside. And so it was in those moments, in that moment, when the truth was spoken over me, that I was able to receive from Him the truth of His word, the truth of who I am. And in doing that, those things broke off of me. Like I said, I never struggled with cutting again. I never struggled with the oppression again. Have I had to take one day at a time with other issues? You bet. You bet I have. It's been a long journey, but God's been faithful through it all. And even though there's some things that He delivers us from instantly, in a second, poof, they're gone, there are other things that He delivers us from gradually. And so that's the fun about it. That's the fun about the Lord, you know. He's right there with us, and we can look back. Sometimes you don't even realize that you're different until, you know, you're sitting around thinking about things and you're like, hey, it's been 2 days since I thought about that, or it's been a week since I've done this or that, you know. And so I just want to encourage everybody, you know, and I think I mentioned it in the last 2 videos, you know, but seriously, look back on your life and you can see where he was there, where His hand was on you, where He was there leading you through these things that seemed impossible, that seemed like, what is going on? You know, He's faithful. And so I just want to kind of close. I keep saying close. I'm sorry. I'm churched. What can I say? Hey. So I just wanted to share with everybody that, you know, I'm still on this journey called life. You know, this earth isn't our home. This isn't our final stopping point. But while we're here, you know, just be encouraged that He's with us every step of the way. And that if we step out and we do those things and we fight against lies and we fight against patterns of thought that tell us that we're no good and we're not worth anything and we're not going to ever accomplish anything, you know, that we can see his goodness in our lives. And so I wanted to just make mention of a couple things that have happened since then, since being set free from the cutting and the oppression, and even a suicide attempt, which is in the book, which you have to get the book so you can read about that. I have had the awesome opportunity of going overseas on a mission trip to Peru, and that was just life-changing. I just loved it. It was hard. Oh, it was hard physically, emotionally at some points, but I so loved it. You know, God was just redeeming the time. Even our whole trip, God just redeemed the time, and maybe another time we'll go more into more detail with that. Also, you know, believing lies, like we talked about, sometimes it takes years and years and years and years for the truth to finally set in, for us to finally step out in freedom and to step out in truth. And for a lot of years, I refused to get baptized, which I know sounds crazy. You know, why would you refuse that? But I was just so, you know, there were still some deep-rooted hurts, you know, things that were spoken over me that were kind of, you know, hard to overcome, even like 20 years later. And I really struggled with it. You know, I thought, well, I don't need to get baptized. I don't want to get baptized. You know, I don't have to get baptized, so whatever. But I just remember coming to the point where, you know, this is an experience that I deserve to have as a believer, as a child of God. And I need to push past this lie that I'm not good enough and that I don't deserve these things. And so it's been probably, I think, 3 or 4 years, maybe a little bit longer than that. I actually had the opportunity to get baptized by the wonderful ministers of our church. It was just a great experience with my church family, just a time of rejoicing. It's always a time of rejoicing when anybody gets baptized, but I know my friends and, you know, my church family and my family, you know, were just so overwhelmed, you know, and just rejoicing at the work that the Lord had done in me, and, you know, that I was actually taking this step and that I was actually getting baptized. And so those, you know, my mission trip to Peru, that was something that was big to me. That was something I always wanted to do, was go overseas on a mission trip, and I was able to do that. God was redeeming the time. The baptism, you know, immersion by water, that was something that I kind of wanted to do because I thought, you know, you should do as a believer, which you should. And I just, you know, had let things hold me down. But I was able to overcome that by the Lord's help, not anything that, you know, that I had done. I mean, He speaks the truth to us, and it's our decision as to whether we step out into the freedom that He's given us. Been going to a wonderful church for 17 years, at least 17 years, maybe longer than that. Been blessed with a wonderful pastor who has seen me through a lot of stuff. And I'm just so blessed. I just am so thankful for the Lord that He has redeemed, that He's redeemed the time in my life, that He's redeemed all the poopy things that happened. You know, He's placed me in a place with people that care about me. He's placed me with leadership who believe in me and support me. He's given me the opportunity to do all the things that I've desired in my heart to do. And I'm just so grateful. And I hope that you all will rejoice with me in this last little bit here. And now stepping out into social media, you know, I had a friend encourage me to do it, you know, step out. And so I've been enjoying it, and I'm so grateful for your support. And this is just another step into what God's called me to do. You know, just sharing with people. I love to share with people anything, you know. I can talk about anything. It doesn't matter what it is. And so I just enjoy being a blessing to people. I enjoy encouraging people. I enjoy talking. I enjoy writing. I love to write. And so I'm just so glad that everybody that's in my life right now is on this wild, crazy ride with me. I appreciate you all so much. I hope that this video was a blessing. If you have not seen part 1 and part 2, they are available on my website, which I'm gonna have to make sure I say it right. Okay, which is csterling1979.wordpress.com. And you can also find the videos on Facebook as well. If you have trouble finding them, let me know, and I'll be sure to send you a link. I do have them on YouTube, but they're not public yet. I'm branching out a little bit, but so far just friends can see, or if you share with your friends, then they can see. So, you know, one step at a time. But I just want to encourage you, you know, don't give up. Don't give up on what God has called you to do. Don't give up in seeking freedom. Don't give up in seeking hope. There is hope in Him. There is freedom in Him. He can take those things. He can take all of those broken pieces, as shattered as your heart may be, as in, you know, little tiny pieces, you know, and He can put it all back together and make it something more beautiful than what it was before. And so I just encourage you today to not give up. Don't give up. Whatever you do, don't give up. If you're struggling with any of the things that we mentioned in these videos, I encourage you to get help, to seek professional help from a pastor, from a therapist, from a counselor, whoever. Don't play around with these things. Depression is very serious. Suicidal thoughts are very serious. The enemy can capitalize on those things, that we don't want that to happen. We want you to be here. God has a plan for your life. So thank you to everyone who has watched these videos. I hope they've been a blessing to you. Please make sure that you check out my website. There's blog posts I've done, and we're going to be starting in May. We're going to be doing a video blog once a month. So I'm excited about that, about various different topics. So I'm excited about that, and just excited about all that God has in store. Thanks for coming on this crazy ride with me. Everybody have a blessed day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.